What's going on, beautiful people? You already know who it is, man. It's your boy, Mr. Controversy, aka Trouble T, aka the Sneaker Pest Control Man, aka the Real versus Fake Eliminator. I don't know. I can come up with nicknames for myself all day. But no, let's get to it. Let's get to the content of this video. I told you, I'm back in these sneaker streets, causing problems because, again, these clowns are starting to peek their ugly heads out of the basement, and it's time for me to jump on top of them joints like Mario when he be jumping on top of the Koopa Troopers and all that. So let's get to it, man. Today's video, we're going to play a game. All right, you want to play a game like my man Jigsaw? We're going to play a game today, and it's called The Math Ain't Mathing. But I'll let you determine if the math is really mathing out here in these sneaker streets. So we're going to pick on places like every sneaker boutique you know that does resell, every sneaker app, the big names, the StockX, the GOATs. All right, so this is part 2, the dark and ugly truth of UA sneakers, part 2. All right, so this is how we're gonna start this off. Let's do the math. So I'll use a very general number just to keep it simple and to keep it in layman's terms to make sure everyone understands. Again, by no means am I trying to insult anyone's intelligence at all. So we're going to use the $100 mark because it's an even number. 100 is easy to add, multiplies, easy to divide. We're going to use the number $100, right? So let's play this game. If you are a boutique owner, right? Or you're the founder of a StockX or a GOAT, and your relationships, we'll use that word, your relationships, you have relationships that are getting you sneakers, excuse me, the dope like mid-range sneakers that sell for like, that resell for like $350, $400. You're getting these sneakers from the relationships you have for $100 a pair, right? That's what you're getting them for. And you're flipping and reselling those. We'll use 400 since 400 is another even number. You're flipping those for $400 per pair, making a $300 profit, 300% profit on every shoe, right? Now, think as this app and boutique owner, right? So jump into the business mind of the app and its boutique owner. So you have a customer that comes in your shop or that submits shoes to your app. They got these shoes off of, say, Yeezy Supply or the Sneakers app or whatever retail outlet. They scored it in a raffle at a Foot Locker, all right? You with me? Scored it in a raffle at a Foot Locker, Finish Line, a Jimmy Jazz, a Shoe Palace, and they get this shoe, as the shoe is limited in these retail locations as well as these retail apps and websites. They score for retail. So say retail, this shoe was $200, another easy even number that we can use to do this math and play this game, right? They see the potential. They look on the StockX app and see that this shoe is now reselling for $400. Great, I got it for $2. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to submit it to these sneaker apps. I'm going to go to the boutique and I'm going to sell it. So in mine, because they're thinking like, okay, in a business sense, I go to a boutique, I sell this shoe I scored for retail that I got for $200. I'm willing to sell it for $350 So I can get that profit, and the boutique, because it's reselling for $4, can still make a profit of $50 to $100, right? That makes sense. Everybody makes money in this equation, in this part of the game. However, you go to the boutique and you see they have, number one, multiple pairs of that retail shoe. Or the shoe that you got retail. Let me clear that up. They have multiple pairs of that shoe that you just scored retail, that you're trying to sell to them to make a couple extra bucks because you see what the resale price is. But they have like a full size run, 2 full size runs. What does that tell you? So you still try to sell it. You bring your receipt, your Sneakers App receipt, or your Shoe Palace receipt in, and you like, hey, got these, they legit retail. They still have their quote unquote legit checkers. They're legit checkers. Check it out. Even though you're showing them literally, again, because even if it's a fake receipt, it can still be proven that if the receipt is legit or not. But you bring it into them, they do their little thing that they do, and they're gonna say, sorry fam, we're gonna pass on these. What do you think the reasons are gonna be because they're gonna pass on them? Now remember what I said in the beginning, but what do you think the reasons are gonna be that they're gonna pass on those? Okay, I'll tell you. Number one, you see they have an overage of stock of that shoe already. And say they just came out that day that you got them and you tried to flip them that same day. How they have all of these just that quick? All right, that's another conversation. Maybe that's part 3 about the early release pairs. I talked about it in the past, but we're going to go into that again probably in part 3. So let's leave that alone right now until part 3 is released. So they have an overage of stock of that shoe. So now they don't need it because they didn't sell what they had already. Number 2, here's the main reason that they're going to pass on that. They'd be foolish to give you $300 to $350 for a shoe that they got from their connections and relationships that they only paid $100 a pair for. Let that marinate for a little bit. Remember, because of their relationships, they were able to get that shoe at $100 per pair. So you think they're going to pay you $350? Makes no business sense whatsoever. So I'm trying to wake up those that are trying to be resellers, first and foremost, in this fashion, that sometimes you may score some retail pair and you try to flip them. Okay. But also those that are trying to get into the resale market and do this and make a significant income. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not going to work in that sense. You have to have the same relationships that these boutiques and sneaker apps have. They're not telling you that. They're fronting and frauding like they're being a middleman service. Now, here's the disclaimer to that. They have to be a little bit of a middleman service. So you may get lucky once in a blue. They will buy a shoe from you or a customer once in a blue. You will never be able to consistently sell shoes to them because they have to make it seem like that they're following the business module that they're putting out there as their company. Does that make sense? Let's use StockX, for example. I'm going to say that they allegedly sell shoes directly to the public 90% of the time. And 10% of the time, they allegedly get it from a customer and put it up on their platform for it to be sold, and then that customer gets paid, and then they get paid fees, so on and so forth, right? So what I'm saying is the middleman thing that consumers are providing these shoes and selling them is a myth. If you look at the numbers on these sneakers apps, StockX has numbers of how many shoes are sold per however, like how many units are sold over a certain period and amount of time. You look at how many shoes, depending on the shoe, are sold based off the time they get them, the release date, and how many units are pushed. It's impossible for there to be a middleman and shoes submitted to this app in that amount of time for them to go ahead and flip and sell them in the amount of time based off the number they're saying they're selling in that amount of time. I know that sounded really confusing, but go back, look at it, it'll make sense. So pretty much the number of units it's exposing the fact that they cannot be taking shoes from consumers and sending them out that fast, especially when they do authentication and legit checks, though we've seen videos of them doing that, and it's been like, smell the shoe, okay, boom, done, authenticated. So you're telling me that a lot of these people out here really believe like the shenanigans and the lies that they tell you, and the advocates that these businesses have. They pay people to be advocates and to be partners to spread this nonsense out to you, and to make you seem like certain things are limited, or to make you seem like, you know, you can really do this resale thing if you just sell your shoes to them. The whole time their relationships are helping them get the shoes significantly cheaper, while you pay retail and then try to, again, flip them. And for those of you that pay resale, I feel even worse. And I ain't knocking nobody's pockets. Do what you do. That's your business. But I just want you to think. I just want you to think. Please. The math ain't mathing, as they say. It's not. The time doesn't add up with the quantity. It don't. It's not that many retail pair going to retail stores in circulation. It's a fact. It's things that can be proven. Everything I'm telling you is stuff that can be proven. It's facts. It's not. So how are all these pairs coming into play? How are these pairs being bought and sold based off of the numbers on some of the big apps platforms? How are these boutiques getting shoes early and in quantities that they're getting them in? That's unheard of. That, check this out. The retail stores aren't even getting them in the quantities that the boutiques and apps are getting them in. Think about that for a second. Think about it. But maybe it's time for me to let this part 2 of this video go. I feel like I've tugged on your ears for a little bit now. But use common sense. The math ain't mathing. Let them keep lying to you if you want. I'm stumbling over my words because I'm really passionate about this today. I don't really stutter that much. But I'm trying to get all that stuff that's in my brain, I'm trying to get it out. You know what I mean? So you can, but part 3 is coming. So more is coming. The consistency is here. It's back. 2 days straight. I'm dropping bombs. They're about to not like me all over again. So the guy that they love to hate is back, and the guy that you love to love is back. Mr. Controversy. I'm checking out. I'm going to leave y'all with that on that note. So, again, comment, subscribe, like the vid. Don't forget to check out my promos at the end of the vid, business opportunities at the end of the vid, music that I'm working on or that I've completed at the end of the vid, all my promo stuff, the stuff that I do for sale, the coaching. I just released what would I call it? I guess a video, teaching module called How to Sell in Detail, where it goes over how to really sell, how to structure your business properly, how to deal with a lot of the nonsense and the rebuttals that you hear when selling. I've been doing it for a very long time. For those of you that know me, that's been my day ones. Again, appreciate you. Appreciate everybody that's new. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, stay tuned tomorrow for part 3. Like I say, we're gonna stay on their top. You dig what I'm saying? I'll holler at y'all. Peace.
It's just different.
Purpose music. I went from being down to being up. Though I was on the ground, head was still high and I'm seeing up. I know they really ain't believing us, but you can't stop greatness, now they seeing us. It's a new day. I went from being down to being